lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Welcome, everybody. Once again, it's Saturday night, and the ECR NextGen Cup Series is back in action after the holiday break. But before the break, we had them hit the track at Legacy Charlotte for an endurance test that definitely tested a little bit of patience, as there was only 3 cautions in 350 miles a couple weeks ago when they were there. Dwayne Freddick was able to bring home P1, Colin Bollinger in second, Tristan Bailey in third. We're going to see who can conquer this egg-shaped oval that is Gateway here, just outside of the Gateway Arch for the Battle in the Arch 180 here. I'm Mike Timoni up in the booth. Joined with me, as always, is Shane. Shane, man, how's it going?
Doing great. I mean, we had a week off for Memorial Day, ready to get back at it here with ECR. Classic Saturday night showdown here at the Worldwide Technology Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the more unique tracks we see. It's kind of like Darlington or even Motegi. Motegi, we were at Motegi a few weeks ago, and it's pretty much the same style, that egg shaped, where you have two corners that are a little bit tighter than the other ones. And that race was won by, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler Burden. So, I mean, he's definitely a guy to look out for here. He's sitting P2 at the moment as they're just finishing up qualifying. Dwayne Furtick on the pole once again. But before we get to that, let's take a quick peek here at this Eliminator Challenge. They are down to 8. Aaron Miller took his provisional last week, so he got eliminated. Now we have Dwayne Furtick, Tristan Bailey, Tyler Burden, Adam Boughton, Kane Lee, Anthony Ludi, Ryan McCall, and Doug Denise, all there battling for this elimination challenge. So we'll see what happens here today, as all those drivers look like they're here. I might have missed somebody, but looks like they're all set to go here. So we are down for a 144 laps. So it's definitely going to be a test here. And with that, let's jump into the grid here. We got Dwayne Furtick and Tyler Burden on row 1. Row 2, Tristan Bailey. And then we have Tristan Bailey and Aaron Miller. Michael Carter and Jonathan Cogswell make up row 3. Row 4, Kane Lee and Stan Carnathan. John Osborne and Ryan McCall make up row 5. Row 6, Doug Denise and Michael York. Gary Nash and Kent Mueller make up row 7. Row 8 is Adam Boughton and Robert Roth. Christopher Roth and Pete Walsh are going to be starting in row 9, and it looks like Marshall Harris and Sam Batwell have not made the jump to the grid yet, so we'll see if they're going to jump in or if they're just going to sit this race out.
Yeah, some familiar faces at the front. Furtick, Burden, and Bailey, all with wins this season. I think the driver I'm going to keep my eye on tonight is going to be Osborne in the 81. He's sitting 3rd in points, but doesn't have a win yet this season. I think he's ready to make a statement that he belongs up there with these other guys, all with multiple wins. We'll see if he can get it done here from about mid-pack.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that's going to be what he just needs to have a complete race. It's not like he's racing bad, because, like you said, he is the leader in points. It's just he just can't quite get that couple positions better that he needs here in order to bring home the victory. Pace car is in, and we're going to the green flag. Furtick on the inside, Burden on the outside. He is down and away, and we are green flag racing here at Gateway. Already touching the wall on that, on the exit of turn 2 there. It does kind of come out a little bit, because 1 and 2 are definitely the tighter corners.
In the wall. And another car behind him. No caution.
That's 8 of Kent Mueller.
I'm guessing that was a reaction from Mueller, seeing that 24 sideways up in front of him.
They had to get hard on the binders there before he made it a bigger mess than it needed to be there. Oh, Alpha Prime into the wall back there. See who that is. Oh, that's Michael York. A Prime Energy drink into the wall. These guys kind of have straightened out here. Let's take a look and see what happened to the 24 real quick. Three wide, sliding up. Gets behind Miller there. Oh, a little bit off the 18. And the 8 just kind of locked it up. Thanks for getting that there, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, I think this track is a much different challenge than last week, right? Charlotte's kind of the most typical track on the schedule, and this is one of those very non-cookie cutter tracks. 1 and 2 remind you of New Hampshire. 3 and 4 remind you of Phoenix. And as you mentioned, it's egg-shaped, kind of like Darlington, but with none of the banking of Darlington. I think these cars are going to be loose and kind of hard to deal with here in the nighttime.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you're wrong. I was looking at the banking, and the banking in 1 and 2 is 11 degrees, which, okay. But 3 and 4 is 9. So it's one of the flattest tracks we come to.
So far, not a lot of movement up and down the leaderboard. Really, the 24 in that contact with the wall is the only car that's kind of drifted away from where they started.
I was going to say, everybody's moved up, maybe 1 or 2 positions because of that. And then you have a group, 11th, 12th, and 13th. They're all up 4 spots, but it's also because you have, Stan Carnathan down a bunch, Gary Nash. I mean, one little hiccup kind of put everybody else down a couple spots there.
And you got to wonder, when you have a week off and a holiday weekend break, some drivers might use that to relax and kind of come back refocused. Other drivers, it might throw off some of the momentum they had. But, I mean, for Furtick, Bailey, and Burden, they're looking like they're pretty focused here tonight.
It looks like everybody's pretty much single filed out. Just looking back through the field, nobody's really close to anybody to make any passes yet. Was looking at the race history of the ECR league, and on June 1st of 2024 was the last time they were here. 144 laps, had 7 different leaders and 10 lead changes. Tyler Burden was the driver who was able to bring home the victory, and in third place was the driver that you kind of wanted to watch, John Osborne.
As we're looking here at Ryan McCall on the 90, some fresh rapid fire pizza paint schemes, at least on this 90 car. Loving the flames here. As always, rapid fire pizza, amazingly good and amazingly fast. I'm always been partial to a good flame paint scheme, all the way back to the Gordon days.
Yeah, definitely the Gordon days had those kind of on lockdown a little bit.
Just behind Ryan, I think I saw the 5 car get just a little out of shape a lap or 2 ago, losing 1 position to Adam Boughton in the 94. And that brings Boughton up to the top 10.
Yep, 5 spots. So definitely moving in the right direction. Ooh. York hard into the wall again.
You can see the damage on that right front. Hopefully just cosmetic. Ooh, we also see those brake rotors lighten up. With no banking to kind of help you decelerate into the corner, you got to use those brakes and try to do it in a straight line on entry if you can.
There we go. You can see just how hot they're getting.
And we're just 13 laps in. It's going to be a long night for that brake pedal.
Well, and that's one of the things when when you race Charlotte, I mean, or any of those other tracks, you've got tons of banking. You don't have to worry about actually being on the brakes, Whereas here, that's one of the only ways you're going to turn the car.
Yeah, I mean, this is I believe it's a 1.25 mile track, but with no banking like that, you're almost kind of setting the car up like a short track, where you're really going to use your trail braking, your brake bias to make the car rotate. But that's going to kind of put you at odds, especially early in the run, and probably leave the car loose and then trail to tight at the end of the run. We're expecting the fuel window to be somewhere between 40 and 50 laps here, so we're about as we have our first rapid fire pizza yellow flag of the night. Looks like Michael York.
I was just getting ready to say Tristan Bailey's lost a couple positions up there, but Michael York looks like he had a incident on track. We saw him get into the wall the last couple times. Let's see what happened to bring out this caution here. Oh,
almost saved it there and then overcorrected.
I mean, not that it was nice, but I mean, single car incident is from what it could have been there. Like everybody's coming down pit lane.
To avoid him.
Well, they're making pit stops. Let's see what happened to Bailey here a few laps ago.
Yeah, it looks like he gets into this turn right on the bumper of the 51 a little too hard and locks him up, and then has to save it from there. Luckily, the 10 of Aaron Miller able to stay off of him and still get past, but then both of them losing the position to Kane Lee in the 38. So I think that caution was a perfect time for Bailey to reset, get some fresh tires.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be, just about right.
As we see drivers hitting pit road, another kind of unique part of this track is that you use an access road in both exit and entry to pit road, so you've got to get down to that access road in just before turn 3 to commit to pitting or not. Hopefully drivers remember that. I know in my league we always tend to forget and have somebody jump down out of turn 4 and catch a black flag for that.
I mean, there is quite a big entrance into pit lane off of turn 4 there, but yeah, it is one of the more unique tracks. And you definitely have to be careful on a pit exit as well, because, I mean, you're on that access road and those corners are even tighter. So Furtick, Burden, Bailey, and Miller. Basically about the same way we started the race. As far as those top 4 go, pace car is in. Furtick with the button as I head down the front stretch here. And it looks like he had to slow up because he started to go a little too fast before that restart zone. Checked up the field, but he got out in front of Burden and moves up to the high line as they come through 1 and 2.
Also checking in on the 24 of Carnathan. He's back on track, but 11 laps down. He's sitting 11th in points right now, and so, you know, being able to make up some points lost here from that early contact with the wall is going to be important, especially if he can catch a few more cautions, maybe get a wave around in some lucky dogs. Also looks like Mueller has picked up a black flag somewhere in that pit cycle. He's going to be coming back down pit road to serve that.
I wonder if he passed before the start finish line or something to that effect. But he kind of single filed out. Kane Lee down on the bottom side. Cogswell up on the high side trying to roll through.
Yeah, at least so far tonight, it looks like the bottom lane is the one to get your passes done on, but it doesn't look very comfortable.
No, I think almost as soon as somebody makes a pass, they jump right back to that high line to try and just make it a little easier on themselves, because, I mean, you have to be basically perfect or you're going to lose some momentum, especially coming through 1 and 2.
And the leader starting to pick up the pace. All 3 of them, actually. Lap 20, Tyler was fastest. Lap 21, Dwayne was fastest. Then lap 21, when Bailey came across, he set the new fastest lap of the night. So they're starting to burn it down.
Yeah, they're trying to drive away here. Aaron Miller losing a little bit of time back in 4th. Bailey just went faster yet again. I mean, we're not even 10 laps in on these tire sets, and he's already trying to look for P2 here. Down to the inside.
Throw it in there.
Yeah.
And Burden just no fight on that one. Maybe got up in the marbles a little bit even.
It looks like he's not quite happy there.
Yeah, looking at the pit cycle, seems like everybody took 4 tires, so really no advantage there. But Bailey seems to have something figured out now.
Bailey was pretty quick before he lost it there, but sometimes, I mean, if you're overdriving the tires a little bit, a few more laps here, you might be going the other direction in a hurry as well. I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. If you're a little rough on those tires, you'll have somebody come up and just take that position away from you.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a head game too. Anytime I make a mistake and cost myself a couple positions, that's when I dig down and find some new speed I didn't know was there. The only thing that makes me even faster is when someone else wrecks me and I'm looking for their bumper.
Yeah, that is definitely something that tends to happen. They drive angry for a reason.
It does look like Bailey's catching Furtick. I'm just not sure what he's going to do when he gets there. As you see, he's loose on exit.
You heard that engine rev just a little bit, so definitely need to pay attention to that a little bit.
Yeah, it sounded like they're shifting. That could be another reason that you can get loose on exit. Anytime you drop down to fourth or third even, just those tires just want to jump.
You were exactly right. Downshifted to third there, coming through 1 and 2. Back to fourth down the backstretch, up to fifth. And looks like he will probably go back down. Oh, ride through fourth through 3 and 4. So a little different.
Yeah, and he's continuing to gain ground on the 51.
Michael York's in pit lane. Kent Mueller, after serving that black flag, is back out on the track. Spent a minute in his pit box on lap 19. Check in on John Osborne.
Yeah, he's up one position from where he started in ninth. Just kind of comfortably got some clean air. No one really putting the pressure on. Again, this is still a long race. We've got over 100 laps to go. Here in the battle in the Arch 180.
Yeah, we have over 100 laps to go, and we also have a couple pit stops that we have to make, even if it stays green the whole time. So lots of adjustments, lots of strategies still to play out. So we'll see what Osborne can do.
We're now 15 laps into this run, and that's when we saw drivers starting to get loose and struggle on the last run. You watch Robert Roth try to defend Adam Boughton.
Yeah, Robert and Christopher both not being able to qualify after a couple penalties, so they have to battle their way back through the field.
You can see how much harder the 94 is kind of putting the car in on entry, and he's going to look to the inside a little squirrely. Gives him a little extra room. They're side by side.
Can't quite make that pass. Gets right to the inside there. He's going to be able to make it now. You see Stan Carnathan coming back in that 24 machine. He is going to be one of the faster drivers on track. Just had a little hiccup coming down the track, so had to go down pit lane, get that fixed up. But he is definitely on the move.
Yeah, it looks like Michael York has parked it for the night.
Yeah, he definitely was not having a good time. Looked like he kept getting loose. And the wall was beginning to become his friend there. So thought better of it, parked it for tonight, and you still get more points than not showing up, so.
I think if you look over the back grandstands, you can see our friend Alan Bergen, St. Louis man. Shout out to Alan if he's listening.
Definitely. As we were watching towards the back, Tristan Bailey made a pass on Furtick. Let's go ahead and take a look back and see how Bailey was able to get by Furtick here. Right on his bumper coming down the backstretch, pulls to the inside. Side by side, not quite clear. Clear him on exit.
It almost looked like the 51 had a chance to get back to his fender and thought better of it this early in the race. As both of them can still see that 06 car burden in their mirror.
I mean, sometimes you're sitting there looking at the relative and you're like, all right, it's just us three. We can just kind of flop positions. I'll ride here for a little while and then figure out what we need to do later.
And especially if you know the guy behind you is faster, it's a lot easier to try and figure out what he's doing if he's right in front of you. Furtick now able to see the line the 9 is taking. Maybe able to hear those downshifts in the corner while they were side by side too. Again, peeking at those point standings, Bailey and Furtick each have 3 wins on the season. They have been the class of the field. Tyler Burden with 2. They're all right there. And then, as I mentioned, Osborne in 3rd, Boughton in 5th. Both of those guys still looking for their first win, as is 6th place Kane Lee. It is a tight race for all of those drivers.
Yeah, it is a tight race. And, speaking of that, we are at race 15 and there are 30 races in the season total. So halfway through a season here, and these guys have been putting on a show each and every time they step foot on the track.
Last couple laps, Burden has been just a hair faster. About 5/500ths faster than Furtick. So we hit 27 laps since pit stops. Looks like our leaders are having about 0.8 of a second of fall off so far from their fastest laps. And they certainly don't look as sideways as they did in that first run.
No, that first run, we got well, we didn't even make it quite this far, and there were several drivers already sideways. You see Aaron Miller bounce off that outside wall in the rear view there. But no, I think these guys started taking a little bit better care of their tires. They kind of saw what happened and realized that they couldn't drive as hard as they were driving earlier.
So we've already talked about the Speedway. It's got a really rocky history, opening around 97, 98, kind of going through different ownerships here and there. Actually closed more than once and then reopened kind of in its modern era here in 2013 as the Truck Series came back to kind of reinvigorate the track. Bubba Wallace actually won that first race. NASCAR returned. And then I think it was, only a year or two ago that the Cup Series announced that they would head here to check it out after the trucks and Xfinity had run a couple times. And I think actually this year, this is going to be a playoff race for the Cup Series.
Yeah, it's going to be in September, so yeah. Round of 16 for the NASCAR Cup Series.
Burden continues to be the fastest of these three. As you can see him inching up on the 51. Bailey looking pretty comfortable out front.
Yeah, once Bailey seems to get out front, he almost just gets more comfortable and somehow finds more speed in the car. Burden down to the inside, going to try on the inside coming down the backstretch. I'm going to slide up into P2. Looks like Stan Carnathan had another little hiccup on track as well. That was a little while ago, but he, according to the timing and scoring though, he has not pitted since lap 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2 for him, and then when he came back out, though, it was lap 15 or so.
Yeah,
for the rest of the field. So he's been out there
37.
Yes, 37 laps. Just 3 longer than the rest of the field, so he must have gotten a wave around there at that first caution. Our leader's now 35 laps on this set of tires and this tank of fuel. As we said, we expect the fuel window to be somewhere between 40 and 50, so they're going to have to start thinking about it.
Yeah, especially after you made that first early pit stop. Like, how far do you go?
I think, you know, this early in the race, I'd like to use the first run to try and get a fuel number. Unless, because it is going to be just a hair close. If you were to pit now, right, you've got 90 laps. That means you need to be able to go 45 on the last 2 runs. And if you're not confident that you could do that, I think you run this at least till you're somewhere closer, 42, 43, and make sure that that's a fuel number you can hit without having to save.
Yeah. That early caution definitely opened up the window to decide how you were gonna, revamp your pit strategy here. Because, like you said, you have to be careful coming to pit lane because you're gonna have to come down and use that access road and be relatively perfect on it.
Yeah, I'm watching these lap times. There's only one other car that's competitive with the top 2, and that's Cogswell in 6th place in the 84. And I think he was just maybe battling with Kane Lee a lap ago and had to lift just a little bit as those cars are now further apart. But he's the guy I think that should be moving up through the field, at least based on the last few laps.
Yeah, all these guys about mid-pack, they're almost 2/10 slower on their best lap compared to the leader's best lap. So they definitely don't quite have the same speed that the leaders do. So they're going to have to figure out a way to kind of make up that time somewhere. And more likely than not, that's going to wind up being on pit lane.
The 84 has caught the 38 again. See what he can do with him. Gonna dive low, as we've seen just about everybody do. Not quite clear. Gonna take another turn at least. 38 fighting back on the outside with that side draft. So we have a second caution.
Oh, Bailey.
He's certainly no longer in the lead.
We'll take a look here. Oh.
Similar to his first time getting sideways like that. Just kind of on the brakes into turn entry, and the rear end comes around. Burden and Furtick able to avoid any contact as he slid down the track. They come to pit road.
Bailey's trying to help Burden make it to pit lane.
Yeah, and I think we've got 87 to go. It'll be 86 when they come out of pit road. So if you can do 43 laps, and we just did 41, I'm guessing everybody can do at least 43. This is now a one-stop race after this run down pit road. I can't imagine anyone's going to take less than 4 tires.
No, I think here it is almost a tire track more than fuel. I'd assume everybody's going to take 4 and full tank of fuel, especially on this stop. Tight race off of pit lane. Looks like Burden gets it.
I believe Kent Mueller will be your lucky dog, getting one of his 3 laps back.
And the top 4 basically remains the same even after pit stops there. Only difference is Burden's going to be the driver in control of the restart.
Osborne now up to 6th for this restart.
Looks like Kane Lee made some time in the pits as he came out in 5th.
Tristan Bailey losing a little bit of time on pit road, about a second longer of a stop. He might have had a little bit of damage to repair through that ride in the grass. We are back. Green flag racing as Tyler Burden gets a great jump on the outside. Will he clear the 51? Not quite into turn 1. Oh, he's going to take it away. We saw Bailey pick up speed after his first spin. Let's see how fast he's there. As there's a car on the wall hard. It was a blue and silver car. Yeah, I think it was Doug Denise. And that Denise Designs 40.
Definitely went the wrong way in a hurry. But as you were talking, we had Tyler Burden take the high side on the restart, and we hadn't seen that happen with the leader choosing the high line. I thought maybe he made a mistake giving Dwayne Furtick that bottom line, but he definitely did not, as he was able to clear, and Tristan Bailey also cleared Furtick back to 3rd, and we have side-by-side racing and around.
I think there's multiple cars going around. I think Osborne was sideways in the turn. And I don't know if that was a reaction to his spin or just everybody trying to get too much out of the tires, the cold tires early in this run there.
Yeah, Michael Carter was sideways.
I think that started with the 81.
Looks like it did, yeah. '81.
Yeah, it looked like
All by himself.
Yeah.
He was okay.
Yeah, the other cars were actually in front of him involved in this caution, so unrelated, other than cold tires being the common denominator.
Take a look here at Michael Carter. You'll see the spin in front of him.
Ooh, contact between the 10 and the 38, and Carter just kind of reacting to it, trying to stay out of that carnage.
Take a look here at the 38.
Oh yeah, it almost looks like the 10 got loose and had to come up the track to catch it. Just tagged that rear fender on the 38. But it didn't look like anybody involved in that got too much damage. And Osborne kind of catching a break there, because I'm not sure a caution would have come out for just him. At least not right away, and
Yeah,
was
no,
able to get some repairs done.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think the caution would not have flown if it was just Osborne there. I mean, you have those cold tires and you have this next-gen car that if you do catch it, you don't always catch it because of the steering that's in these cars. That rack and pinion just, you'll think you'll have it, and then all of a sudden you're snapped back around.
Yeah, the drivers taking advantage of this are in 7th through 10th. Adam Boughton up 8 positions. Robert Roth up 8 positions. Christopher Roth up 8 positions. And Pete Walsh up 8 positions. Those are the drivers kind of capitalizing on this pit cycle and this caution to break into the top 10 for some of them the first time today. And McCall now in 6th. He's up 4 positions. Jonathan Cogswell in P5.
Pace car is in, and we're going to be back to green flag racing. Is Tyler Burden going to lead him on down here? Pick the high line one more time. Hit that restart zone, and we're down and away. Green flag back out here at Gateway, and he gets a masterful run here. And he will set sail off into turn number 1.
And both of these Camaros looking fast here on this restart as Cogswell looking low under Aaron Miller. Going to complete that pass for now, but Miller going to try and cross him over. We're going to have to be careful. We've seen so many cars get loose up on those marbles.
Yeah, especially on these cold tires. I mean, you slide up there, and then all of a sudden there's nothing you can do. You're racing hard for position, but you do not have the preferred line.
These two drivers matched. Oh, and I don't know if the 84 really threw it in there or the 10 let him go, but it looks like he got in there way too hot.
Yeah, he was carrying a ton of speed in there. I didn't think he was going to be able to make the corner, but he made it and came out in front of Aaron Miller there. But Miller's battling back on the bottom side. We'll see if Cogswell's going to be able to clear him as they head down the front stretch one more time here. And Cogswell will finally complete that pass.
So we see Lee coming up through the field trying to make up those positions he lost on that caution. He does have a slight tire advantage. It's 5 laps, but most of those were under caution. I'm not sure that's going to give him too much extra speed. So he's working the outside on the 94. Oh, I thought they were going to touch, but he clears him. Back to single file here around 6th, 7th, and 8th. Watch the 62 car of Christopher Roth. He's really hugging that white line. Boughton getting by the 59 now. Cogswell and Miller going at it again.
Yeah, back at it again. Miller passed him, and Cogswell said, I want that position back, and came right back at him and able to make that pass. And up front, it's still Bailey and Burden.
Yeah, Bailey is the fastest car on the track by 0.3. We've really seen Burden's car come on at the end of the run and Bailey be fast early. But that if you're sitting in P2 and you're Tyler watching that 9 car go away from you, it's kind of hard to pace yourself and save it for later.
Yeah, that is something that you're going to be sitting there going, man, what do I do? How do I catch him? Because you can just see him driving away.
That lap, Cogswell, the fastest of these top 5. It looks like Burden is dropping through the field. He might have gotten loose in that last turn. All the way back to 7th now.
Well, let's see if we can take a look. Maybe what happened real quick. Oh, yep, sideways into the wall.
Not a total disaster, but that was a pretty good knock on the front right. The 06 car. It's going to leave Bailey out front with almost a 2-second lead over Dwayne Furtick. As Cogswell just can't get the 10 to leave him alone. These two both driving their hearts out for 3rd place. You can just hear how patient you have to be through those turns. They're out of the gas for so long. Ryan McCall cracking into the top 5. Cogswell, the fastest of that front group again, that lap. Just barely faster than the leader, but he was almost 0.3 faster than Furtick. I think if he can get some breathing room off of the front of the 10 car, he can chase these guys down.
And he definitely seems to have the better car, especially on the long runs. He just he's been in traffic too much to really show what he can do in that 44 Farms 84 Ford. But as these guys have single filed out, we'll step aside here. We'll take a commercial break as we're over halfway through the race. And before we have some more pit strategy conversations here, we'll step aside. You'll hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to bring you the conclusion here at Gateway. Welcome back, everybody. Didn't miss anything while we were away. Everything pretty much stayed the same. Tristan Bailey leading the race by over a second and a half to Wayne Furtick back in second. Jonathan Cogswell has a little bit of breathing room now to Aaron Miller, and Ryan McCall rounds out that top 5.
Yeah, our top 3 really matching lap times, lap after lap, so not really gaining on each other, but nobody pulling ahead either. And it's a couple tenths drop off once you get to 4th through 10th. I have a feeling Cogswell has the speed, but might have burned up his tires a little bit getting up to 3rd.
Yeah, especially with how much him and Miller were fighting back and forth as Miller goes hard into that outside wall. Checking back in on Tyler Burden. Burden is running P7, closing in on Kane Lee. He was up front and then had a slight miscue, wound up sideways through the corner. Lost quite a few positions, didn't bring out the caution, but had that 06 machine turned in the right direction, and he is battling back now, stuck in 7th position, though, for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually impressed that he's still got so much speed after how hard he hit the wall. You can still see a little bit of damage. The body panel is not lined up quite right on his right front, but he's keeping up with Kane Lee and Ryan McCall.
Another little group back here. Robert Roth, Michael Carter, Doug Denise, all kind of around each other there. Osborne just in front.
We saw how hard but fun and clean that Cogswell and Miller were racing each other. I'm just, peeking at the point standing again. They are running 12th and 13th in the standings, which means Cogswell's the last guy into the playoffs right now, and Miller the first one out. So they have a lot on the line. I know we're still middle of the season, but by now you kind of figured out who you're going to be racing for those cutoff positions heading into the chase, and you can see it there on the track, how hard they were fighting.
Yeah. I mean, we're halfway through the season, but I think we only have 9 races left until that cutoff, and the top 12 will battle it out for the championship. So every race matters from here on out, the next 9 anyway, as they're not easy tracks either. I mean, you're talking Chicagoland, Richmond, iRacing Super Speedway. Then you have Atlanta Super Speedway, so anything can happen there. Pocono, Michigan, and then Daytona. So, I mean, a lot of them are tracks that anybody can kind of win at. It's not out of the question anyway.
Yeah, 3 super speedways. And that might be a way for some of these drivers to kind of crack into that top 3 that have looked almost untouchable most of the season. Bailey kind of picking up an advantage here on lap times the last couple laps. Seems like he was able to save his tires for the end of this run, as our leaders are now 36 laps into this run.
Yeah, I'm going to say those guys are going to want to get at least, I'm going to say, close to 10 more laps here before they come down pit lane. Looking at the timing and scoring, though, looks like Christopher Roth already came down on lap 82, making his 3rd pit stop of the race. So he will probably, I'm going to say he definitely will need one more to make it on fuel.
Yeah, he'll need one more, but because he pitted early, he might have picked up, a few tenths a lap. And if caution comes out at just the right time, that could set him up to be in a better position. Not a terrible gamble where he was running around 10th, just to try something different than the leaders.
Yeah, he's got to make up 10.5 seconds on Kent Mueller here for that lucky dog position.
And Mueller was 3 laps down after the very first contact of the race. So he's been able to get a couple laps back. Just needs one more to get back on the lead lap. Keep moving up.
I mean, Stan Carnathan involved in the early incident all by himself there. Took it down pit lane, had to spend an extended period of time to get it fixed. But back out on track running laps, he's able to get at least one more position, as Michael York called it a night early. So even though you're multiple laps down, if somebody else has a bad accident or gets caught just right, you can make up at least a couple points here. '81 of Osborne makes a pass to get into the top 8.
Miller down on the access road. He's coming to pit lane.
I was just going to say, Tyler Burton made up a couple spots in a hurry there. And then Miller pulls down and gives him another one.
Now with 45 laps to go, like I said, if you're not out in the lead and you're not gaining on the leaders, you got to try something. So Miller now, the next car, trying to undercut these leaders. The drop off now is about a second a lap. Fresh tires too. Old tires now 42 laps into the run for the leaders.
Almost a 2.5 second lead here for Tristan Bailey.
Yeah, if I'm Bailey, I'm not in a rush here, right? I'm in the lead. I've got a comfortable lead. I could afford even to let Furtick and Cogswell and Burden, get a pit one lap before me, and then I'd know, hey, I'm coming next time. I don't think there's any reason to risk hitting early and getting caught with a caution going a lap down or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you wait until Furtick and Cogswell and Burden all come down pit lane, and then you go to the next lap. Of course, if I'm Furtick, Cogswell, or Burden, I'm going to wait until you come down.
Right, a little bit of a waiting game here is if you were going to split this run in half, that would have been a lap ago. So I think we're seeing that everybody's willing to run it a little bit long. Most of these guys only stopping twice so far in the race, so still plenty of tires. If we were to catch a late caution, and I don't think there's any worry about saving a set.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so. I think everybody's going to probably have a set anyway.
They should have plenty. And that last lap there, Cogswell gained a 10th. But, I mean, he's 3.5 seconds back from Bailey. Going to need a lot of laps with a 10th in them to catch up.
What's interesting, though, I was looking at Kane Lee here. Kane Lee came down on lap 63 And he only spent less than 5.5 seconds in his box.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have grabbed tires while I was in there, but you know, he was in there for that spin, and maybe needed just 5 seconds of repairs, or just took the splash. I'm not sure.
Cogswell is the blink.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, it looks like Cogswell really kind of fallen off. Oh no, I mean, he was still matching Bailey, it looks like, but again, it's kind of you got to do something different than the leader if you want to beat him.
I mean, especially when he had over a 2-second lead, like, you have to do something.
And Furtick's pace is now 0.3 off of Bailey's.
Yeah, Bailey's just got another almost second of lead here.
I mean, at this point, I'm a little curious, like what's happening to the 51 speed. He started on pole and really ran with, you know, right up there on the tail of the leader most of the night, and then this run in particular, he didn't seem to have the speed early, and he's still faster than everyone behind him, but compared to Bailey must have really found something, whether it's a spiritual motivation from the spins or figuring out exactly when to use those downshifts. He's got a little extra speed on the whole field other than Cogswell, but Cogswell just doesn't seem to have the track position that he needs to bring the fight to Bailey.
Nash goes the lap down.
Now 50 laps into this run for the leaders. I think 2 or 3 of those were under caution. But this is the longest by far we've seen anybody drive tonight.
Yeah, I'd assume that they're going to come to pit lane this time by. Yeah, Furtick already in. But Bailey should be making his way this time. I would think.
And along with Kane Lee's coming in this time, but we mentioned he had just a few laps better than some of the leaders, as Bailey in the grass. Oof. Able to keep it straight there, but Osborne and Michael Carter, they're kind of in that same position as that Kane Lee was. They could afford to stay out another 5 or 6 laps and try to catch a caution.
Yeah, especially with everybody coming down, getting those fresh tires. We've seen it a couple of times. You know, you get those fresh tires, they're a little cold, and you try and drive them the same way you were driving the old, warm, used ones, and it just doesn't drive the same.
Now, Ryan McCall is your leader. He's 52 laps into his run, making sure to feel what it's like to be out front. Getting that extra bonus point for leading a lap.
And he's coming in.
Now this access road pit entry really adds an extra skill you need to be able to get here fast enough. So we saw Bailey getting everything he could out of that access road.
Yeah, that access road does not have the speed limit. It doesn't. The speed limit doesn't come into effect until you hit basically pit lane. So try and get all you can out of it and make that that time a little bit faster.
See a couple more drivers hit pit road. McCall, Nash. That's going to leave Osborne out in front. As Burden unlaps himself.
I'll say the fastest cars are all unlapped now.
Denise coming in. I mean, look at that gap. Remember, we were saying Cogswell had 2.5, almost a 3-second gap to the leader. He came in a couple laps earlier, 5 laps earlier than Bailey, and now that gap is under 2 seconds. So was able to gain a little bit. That actually puts him ahead of Furtick for now. The undercut paying off for Jonathan Cogswell, getting him some needed track position to bring the battle to Bailey. And Osborne going to have to come in either this lap or the next one. He's at 52 laps. The furthest I saw anybody else make it was 54. He's got all his fingers and toes crossed for a caution, but I don't think he's going to get it.
Even if he got it, I don't know that it would matter right now, as Bailey, Cogswell, Furtick, Miller, and Burton are all on the lead lap still.
Well, would at least guarantee him 6th or 7th position, and being able to pit while everybody from 7th on back would have to take a wave around.
Yeah, it would give him a little bit of a benefit, but not for the lead. Ooh, hard on the brakes there.
Going to head to pit road, and that's going to leave Tristan Bailey back out front. Cogswell P2, Furtick P3, and Aaron Miller in 4th. The other driver other than Cogswell doing the undercut there was Aaron Miller in the 10. We'll have to see how their tires hold on, as they have at least Miller has about a 10 lap older set of tires than the rest of the leaders.
And just checking on Osborne. Osborne made his pit stop back out on the track. He's still running P10. So,
lost 2 drivers not too far away in front of him, too. Those fresh tires, he should be able to get those positions back. Tristan Bailey, the fastest car out there right now. Tyler Burden close behind in terms of lap times, and then Cogswell and Furtick matching each other down to the 100th of a second. With 25 laps to go here in the battle in the Arch 180 at Gateway. Everyone needing to really fill that tank up on that last stop. Nobody opting for 2 tires. I don't think we've seen anything other than a 4-tire stop all night long, other than that splash and go for Kane Lee under caution.
If you're Cogswell or Furtick, you've got to be hoping that Bailey runs into some lap traffic and just can't get around them to slow him down. because that gap is widening with this kind of clean track out in front of him.
Yeah, I've got to think if you're either of those guys, I think the only thing you're really concerned about is that other driver fighting for P2 right now, as Furtick is gaining on Cogswell. Now just a tenth of a second back. Looking to go to the inside and use a lap car as a pick. And that's going to work, as the 84 really can't make a move with the 74 in front of him. It's Pete Walsh. And he's in the lucky dog position, so he's not just going to lay over either. As Furtick takes second away from Cogswell through that battle. And starts to gap him.
You know, that's the worst part. When you catch the lap car at the most inopportune time, if you're trying to defend a position, then you just lose all momentum and kind of have to go back and regroup here. But, I mean, a top 3 is still pretty well there for Cogswell.
Yeah, and he's got a 3.5 second gap back to Tyler Burden. Could be safe for now. Burden is running a little bit faster than some of the guys around him, but Bailey is the one setting the pace, as he has pretty much all night long, minus a couple self spins.
Worked his way around the lap traffic, and now that gap is out to 3 seconds again.
That leaves just 11 cars on the lead lap, as Doug Denise is now in that lucky dog position. $20 to go. Furtick about a 1/10.5 faster than Bailey that lap. If he can maintain that pace, he'd catch Bailey somewhere right around the end of this race.
Yeah, Furtick also has 2 lap cars to deal with between himself and Bailey, so gonna be a little rough for him to do that. Cogswell's lost all of his momentum. Now he is almost a second back from Furtick, but he has about 3 seconds on Burden there, so no real issue at the moment. Going down to the inside.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Furtick kind of caught Roth there at just the wrong time and had to let out of the throttle. Cogswell gained almost a half second just on that straightaway.
And Bailey's almost three and a half right now.
Not a great lap for Furtick. Yeah, at this point it is, I think, Tristan Bailey's race to lose. At the speed all day, able to overcome a couple small mistakes and keep that car clean.
Yeah, once he's got that 9 Chevy out there in that clean air, he is just lightning quick.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the stats. He's led over 800 laps this season, including 79 so far tonight.
That is just crazy. What's even crazier is his average running position on track. It's 3.2.
Wow. Well, based on that, I'm kind of disappointed he hasn't won more races then, I guess.
I mean, he still has
Cogswell.
I'm saying he still has the
Not
second best average finish of 6.9.
Yeah, no slouch at all, that's for sure. Cogswell continuing to run in third, trying to lock up a podium here at Gateway.
As you say that, Tyler Burton has found some more speed in that 06 Chevy as he has got that gap down to now only a second and a half.
Oh, yeah, 7/10 faster than Cogswell that lap. Remember, Burden is on just 4 lap fresher tires than Cogswell, but really finding some speed here at the end of the race.
Well, he was battling for the lead until that hard shot into the wall after losing a little bit of control there. Went back through the field, made his pit stop. Now he is running fourth, so still a pretty good bounce back from the devastating day that it could have been for that 06 machine.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to be fast enough to catch Cogswell unless Cogswell has a slip. Bailey continuing to pull away from Dwayne Furtick, 3/10 that lap.
Almost
I
five.
think everybody
overall.
other than the 9 probably hoping for maybe a late race caution just to give him one more shot at him. Just looking smooth as butter out there.
Cogswell reeled in the gap a little bit. Second and a quarter is all. Burden, though, down to almost half a second back is all.
Burden getting a lot bigger in Cogswell's mirror. Just a half second back with 5 laps to go. This is the battle for that final podium position. And once again, Cogswell kind of catching a lap car at the worst time.
And it's in the preferred lane that Cogswell's been running, so kind of just holding him up just a little bit here.
And once again, that's the lucky dog, Doug Denise right there. So he doesn't really have any reason just to lay over and get out of the way. He's fighting as hard as he can in case he can catch a lucky caution here.
Cogswell gonna go to the inside, try and make this pass. If he can get a car between himself and Burden, it would really help. But Burden makes a pass and goes to the high side right as they come to the start-finish line side by side.
Oh, he went in hard. Is he going to be able to clear him? Cogswell getting a great run. But Burden, I think those fresher tires making that possible for him to squeeze around. Oh, but Cogswell's going to throw it back in on the bottom. Burden just going to clear him on exit with 2 laps to go. Burden taking away 3rd place. A little bit of consolation from losing the lead earlier.
And that was a heck of a pass there by Burden. Went to the inside, followed Cogswell under Denise, then made the move as soon as he got clear to go to that high side, knowing Cogswell was going to try and go up there. And he was able to make that pass. White flag in the air for Tristan Bailey, as he is going to set sail and bring home another victory.
Rounding turn 4. Coming back to the checkered flag, Tristan Bailey putting a clinic on the rest of the field here tonight at the Worldwide Technology Speedway at Gateway in the Battle in the Arch 180. Racking up his 4th win of the season. It's business as usual for that number 9 Rapid Fire Pizza Chevrolet. As Furtick comes up to give him some congratulations. And the fireworks have started. Burden also going to give him a tap of appreciation. And maybe a couple for good measure.
And that was a heck of a run there.
Getting in those donuts at the start finish line. Doing a nice burnout drag strip back into turn 4. You can't take that tire tread with you when you park it for the night. You might as well use it up.
Definitely having some fun out there. But while he's doing that, let's see if we can get 3rd place up here in the booth for you.
Tyler, you got Shane and Mike in the booth with you. How you doing? You got a copy?
Sweaty. Super.
Oh, I can imagine. It was a battle up front between the three of you, kind of all night. A little bit a step away from the rest of the field, but also some self-inflicted mistakes for a handful of drivers, including you. We saw you just catch the wall ever so slightly and then have to battle back for the second half of the race. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, that was pretty much an issue everyone was fighting. I don't know that it was so much a driver error. This track, for some reason, feels a lot greasier than what it did last year. And I caught mine way earlier than what Tristan did, so my car had no option but to hit the wall. But it fortunately it didn't give us any wheel damage, so it was all cosmetic. But you could still kind of feel it. It made the car slightly tighter, but it still drove the same. When we hit pit road for that last stop, it was only 12 seconds. So then I just started driving into it a little bit harder. But yeah, it was interesting. There might be some discussions on what happens for a setup, or if we even run this for next year. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's a little unfortunate I wasn't able to fight Tristan for the win, but hey, fighting back like I did, and I'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were having fun watching you drive back up through the field, kind of on a revenge tour after that contact with the wall. And that battle and pass right at the end with the 84 was just fantastic to watch. So congratulations again on the podium finish here at Gateway. Who you got to send some shout outs and thank yous to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Jonathan. I had to do it to him, unfortunately. But I was thinking, man, I hope on the replay they show that, or on the broadcast that they show that pass, because that was sexy. I had to get to positions. I was hoping I would Dwayne's car had fell off hard enough that I could catch him, but like I said, I was just happy with a third. But all the Eon guys, of course, all of us were trying something different with our brake packages because we couldn't find anything that really felt good or was really that comfortable. And it was kind of obvious when two of us almost wrecked with our brake packages. And then I want to give a shout out to Humanities 101 Foundation and Dr. Dutch and everybody that volunteers for that group. And let's see, give a shout out to my mom and dad. My dad, because he taught me everything I know about race cars and racing before I went to University in Northwestern Ohio, of course. But that's pretty much all I got. And I thank you guys for putting on the show and broadcasting for us. We all really appreciate it.
We appreciate you too. Like I said, we had a lot of fun watching you drive up through the field towards the end of the race there. So congratulations on third. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, Dwayne, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Pretty good, guys.
Well, that was a heck of a race there. You top three guys pretty much dominated most of the race. How was it out there making your way around Gateway tonight?
It was pretty good. The track just changed there, probably about halfway within the run. Just got too tight, way too tight. But it's a track that challenges the driver, and that's a good thing. So it's good to have that, a little bit lack of grip here and there. I think separates the pack.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you were one of the only drivers not to lose the car. Tristan Bailey and Tyler Burden both made a couple mistakes and wound up sideways there. Was it just being more careful in general, or was it fresh tires that kind of caused maybe some of the issues?
I think the first few laps, you're right on the fence, you're right on the edge of grip. But I mean, in my case, the grip pretty much went away. It just got tight in the center and loose off, and it's just all over the place. It didn't feel anything like that in practice.
Oh, dang. Well, you were able to bring home another P2. Who do you have to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
Thank my awesome teammates, Southern Alliance Racing, South, Kane. Guys are incredible to race with. Shout out to ECR, incredible league, and great job, Christian, getting him a win tonight. So he did an amazing job, and thank you guys in the booth.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats, and we will see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
All right, we'll get you the race winner.
Kristen, you got Shane and Mike in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up?
All right. I mean, all right. We saw you get sideways once, then saw you get sideways again, and then we saw you try to get sideways on that pit road access lane, tagging the grass just a little bit. But you made it right back to the front and just kind of smoked the field for most of the day. Tell us about your night.
The first time I got sideways, I wasn't paying attention and I braked way too late. And I had to avoid Dwayne, so I didn't kill him. Thankfully, thankfully old Tyler slowed down enough to be able to miss me. And thankfully Aaron Miller and Kane didn't kill me. Second time, I don't know what happened. I broke the same spot, downshifted the same spot. I don't know. And then yeah, I got a little wide there in the grass on pit road entry. That was the first time making a green flag pit stop right there. So I was like, see how this goes. But I don't know. I was kind of regretting this race because in practice the car was it was like tight on entry but super loose everywhere. Like the car just wouldn't grip. I don't know if it's just a setup the way they have it. If it's like a daytime setup or something, but it's like the car wouldn't really grip. Yeah, I was having to shift all the way down to third there in turn 1 and 2. Just get it to grip and turn.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that downshift. We were riding along with you to count the gears, and third, that seems really aggressive, but it was really giving you the speed on exit that you needed.
Yeah, if you didn't downshift all the way to third, for one, you wouldn't slow down all the way, and two, you would have such low, like you're bogging down in fourth gear almost, if trying to keep it in fourth.
An impressive run. Again, picking up your 4th win of the season here at Gateway. Congratulations on the win. Who you got to thank tonight?
Thank all Jans. We all helped each other in practice there because we weren't sure what was going to happen, because how the car handled, and then thank Doug for this paint. I know I've been running it for a while. I'm probably ain't going to change it. I like it. And then it was thanks to y'all, and thanks to Adam for running these races every Saturday night.
All right. Well, we'll see you again next week, and good luck then as well.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and go over the race results real quick. Tristan Bailey, Dwayne Furtick, and Tyler Burden are the top 3. Jonathan Cogswell, hard luck P4. Kane Lee, Ryan McCall, John Osborne, Aaron Miller, Adam Butt, and Michael Carter are the top 10. Robert Roth, Doug Denise, Pete Walsh, Gary Nash, and Kent Mueller are the top 15. You got Christopher Ross, Stan Carnathan, Michael York, rounding out the drivers that took part in the race tonight. Marshall Harrison, Sam Batwell did not start tonight. So that is where they finish. Where will they be next week when we head to Chicagoland? A little bit different track. Definitely see what these guys can do. Look forward for them putting on another show as they did tonight. Only a couple cautions out of 144 laps at Gateway is quite the feat here.
Yeah, I think after we saw, Bailey, the fastest guy on the track, get sideways, I was expecting a lot of other drivers to do the same, but really impressed with this ECR league and how clean this race was. There really wasn't any beating and banging either. Nobody picking a fight or anything like that. A lot of respectful racing. Love to see that here at a track like Gateway. Avoid the caution fest that could have happened otherwise.
Definitely, man. Well, thanks again for joining me in the booth. We'll wrap it up here and head to Chicagoland next week. About 9 races left here before we get to the all-important chase. Looking at the Eliminator Challenge, I don't recall seeing Anthony Ludi on the board, and he is not. So he's going to be the driver that gets eliminated this week. So we're going to be down to 7 next week at Chicagoland. But we'll go ahead and pack it up, get out of here. From all the drivers of the ECR Next Gen League and all of us here at Sim Racing Media, I want to shoot you guys a good night, and we'll see you next week.